So in this video, I'm going to talk about my past around alcohol abuse and how I use it as a form of escapism from looking into my psyche and how it was outwardly projected as a form of self-hatred. For most depressed people, they go through something in life. At the time of it happening, it becomes somewhat too overwhelming to handle. Your mind shuts down and you become numb, unfeeling of emotion. That's understandable because at the time it's just too much to process. So like most people in the Caribbean, I started drinking from an early age, unknowing to my parents. And then for me in my early adulthood, I became a bartender. It doesn't actually take much to become a bartender. You just have to know your alcohol and how to mix a drink. But I still went to bartending school, which did teach me how to taste wine, how to price and formulate drinks on my own, and how to make my own liqueurs. So there was a plus in that. Well, the problem being a bartender is that you had access to alcohol 24/7, whether at work or at home. And being an alcoholic, I remember some mornings I wake up and the first thing I do is go take a swing of vodka, gin, or tequila. And at some point I stopped tasting the harshness of alcohol. It started to become more like water to me. I'm not going to lie, there was some really good times with friends, drinking and having fun. But that's just not my vibe anymore. And I've been sober from alcohol for the past 2 years. You see, I used to be very shy, so starting off tipsy, it just gave me a bit of liquid courage. I'd be able to go and be at the center of a crowd without care, or act without thought of consequence. And then when I got drunk, I became a big teddy bear who would want to hug all my friends and tell them how much I love them and give everyone a kiss. But this one time I went to a friend's birthday party in what many would call or describe as the bush, deep in South Trinidad. I got so drunk I felt like I wanted to vomit, so I stepped out from where their home was and I continued walking down the road until I found myself lost. I don't remember much, I just remember walking up to someone else's house thinking it was theirs and then realizing, oh wait, I'm lost. But I got back though, so, we live. I think for 10 years, staying in a depressive state of absolute abhorrence, loathe for yourself, changes your brain chemistry. Because I remember for a period of time, at least 2 to 3 years, I did not look into a mirror. I didn't want to see myself. And I know a lot of people who go through depression could relate to that. No matter how beautiful you actually are as a person, or how beautiful you look, or the good qualities in you, the self-critic in you could never allow you to see such a thing. And when you look at yourself, you're met with utter disgust. I think we call that body dysmorphia. I didn't actually quit alcohol first, but I definitely got off alcohol in terms of being dependent on it before I started making the transition into changing the brain chemistry, or the way I think. 2 things: addiction and hating yourself. I like getting down to the very nitty-gritty root cause of things to figure out how it works, because that's just the way my brain works. And what I've discovered is that to get over an addiction, you just have to replace it with a stronger addiction. And I really like the idea of getting high on seeing results, seeing change and seeing better in your own life. And that is something I would only say I very recently started fostering within my mind. With getting over self-hate, I remember finally facing myself, looking into the mirror and looking into my eyes. I sat in front of the mirror and I looked at myself until I could fall in love with the imperfections that was me. Because I know that the amount of love I had to give to people in my life, whether it be friends, family, acquaintances, for how I saw people, it sometimes felt like I had a tsunami of emotion flowing towards me, but the foundation of my house was built on straws. It'll just get washed away at any moment in time. I think that one is on just feeling very deeply. It was all about turning it around. I know now that if you absolutely hate something to one extreme of an emotion, you could flip it around and see the extreme opposite of that emotion. So love exists within hate, and hate does exist within love. A good example of this to bring into perspective: have you ever had a relationship where you felt like you absolutely adored the person you were with, you loved them so deeply, but then they did some fuck shit and afterwards you literally couldn't see them the same anymore? A slow, seething, deep hate started to rise out of nowhere. Because how could they betray you? It's a common trope in nearly every story, to be honest. And that intense hate came from the intense love. There's many parts of inner alchemy that has to be processed in order to get out of depression, foster a new mindset, and change your entire being. And it's something I'm getting better at every day. You see, negative emotions still arise, negative thought processes still come up. But I fully believe that if somebody wants to see change within themselves strong enough, they will make the necessary actions that they need to take to see themselves become better, because the burdens you have on yourself mentally, it never decreases. You only get better at dealing with it over time. The parable of chopping wood and carrying water for a master for however many years in the hopes that you find enlightenment. Even after becoming enlightened, you still have to chop wood and carry water. It's just about learning the tools in which to alchemize from the negative emotions and knowing when to use them, so that when they do arise, you remember, hey, I have the tools necessary to not stay in the negative space I once was. And that's all inner alchemy really is. Now, if you want to know more about how all of this works, very soon I'll have a course up on how you can do this too. But in the meantime, I'll just be doing one-on-one clients. I love you. Have a good day.